Okay, here we go. We got episode number 50. It started pretty good. Started pretty good. Jags were up, what, 7-0 in the game and couldn't hold the lead. The backup quarterback came in. Joe Burrow got hurt, looked like an ankle injury. Later, we kind of found out it was a toe. Maybe it's a turf toe injury. But it looked serious. Like he's going to be, like he may not return for a while. I'd be shocked if Joe's back next week, but they got a backup quarterback, and the Jaguars got beat by absolutely a backup quarterback. I'm Scott. My name is Scott. I'm your host for the TEAL Shirt Report podcast, episode show number 55. I'll salute one of my childhood favorite players, number 55, Ralph Ortega. There's a section of Jacksonville called Ortega, but they pronounced his name, or at least Otis Boggs, the old play-by-play guy for the Florida Gators back in the day when I was a kid. He was Ortega, Ralph Ortega. And good player back. I'm not going to have really the time to look him up now. Probably we'll look him up later. We may do a 55A and may stick with Ralph Ortega for a couple of episodes here. And I sent a message to Gaylor, hey, find me a number 55 Jaguars player. Linebackers, man, the linebacker play yesterday was pretty good by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Devin Lloyd, that interception he made, the interception Devin Lloyd made was so athletic. This is a guy who's been basically, for the most part, a disappointment. He's not been, the Jags have not exercised the fifth-year option on him. Trayvon Walker, they did. And I'll talk about Trayvon Walker, but Devin Lloyd, man, he made a great, if you watch the interception, if you're watching the game or you go back and watch the film, it was very athletic, the interception he made. Brashul Tootin, the backup running back now. And there's another guy after him, the high draft pick. And I always forget his name, but he's a guy they brought in for blocking, believe it or not. So, I think the Jags, I don't think Gladstone has done bad as a GM. I think the product on the field is actually a little bit better than last year, maybe more than a little bit better. Time will tell. There were problems yesterday. The backup quarterback came in, and the Jags are probably thinking, man, we're going to win this game, because when the backup quarterback came in, I believe the Jags, they were either tied or had the lead. Should have been a W. This is going to be a learning experience. Sounds like something Gus Bradley would say back a few years ago, former Jaguars head coach. But, it's a tough loss. I've got our BigJReport SEC power rankings up, and it's really hard to come up with the power rankings now. It's still so early in the season. It's September the 15th. Florida lost to LSU 20-10. And I have to admit, I went to sleep in the third quarter of that game. What was the score late in the third quarter? And it may have just started the fourth quarter when I fell asleep. And I didn't mind falling asleep because I've been very, very busy and trying to catch up on some sleep. But when I went to sleep, LSU had a 20-10 lead. So I wake up the next morning and I'm saying, man, is there even a chance Florida came back? I didn't miss 1 point. It was like a scoreless fourth quarter. So I guess the Lord knew what he was doing when he let me go to sleep, because I didn't miss any points. And LSU won the game, sadly, for us Gator fans. LSU 20, Florida Gators 10. I've got the BigJReport SEC power rankings on the screen. It's going to change quite a bit over the next week or two or three. Right now, Georgia 3-0 at number 1. They found a way to beat Tennessee in overtime, 44-41. LSU number 2 at 3-0. And LSU, that could be a little high for them, but they found a way to win. If you watch the Brian Kelly press conference, that was an amazing thing I watched. And Brian Kelly, man, he gets a lot of tough questions, and he don't like them all. And so I may watch him again. Georgia won at 3-0. Georgia's number 1, Mad Max. The Mad Max Mix.weebly.com each Wednesday night, heard at madmaxmix.weebly.com. And yours truly is a guest on there with Mad Max. Our executive producer, JC's on there with Mad Max from time to time. And Max plays a lot of great music. The Mad Max Mix.weebly.com. We're also brought to you by Saucer Realty and Capital for your real estate needs in North Florida, whether it's home, residential, business, or commercial real estate. Go to BigJReport.com. That's it. BigJReport.com. There's the mug, the famous. There it is, the famous coffee mug. We're drinking the coffee. Man, that's pretty good. And we're not drinking the Kool-Aid. We're drinking the strong coffee after a 31-27 loss. That's how I like my coffee anyway. Strong, fresh, a little creamer in there. Maybe more than a little creamer, huh, JC? Our executive producer, JC, thank you for all the help. Also, Alex Nunnery. Alex has got some high school football videos up on our channel. Check him out. He did a couple of pretty good interviews, JC, in the last video we put up here just a couple of days ago after a Friday night game he was at. So check him out. SEC Power Rankings, Georgia 1, LSU 2, Auburn 3, Oklahoma 4, Texas A&M 5th. People are probably going, wow, that can't be. All 5 of those teams are undefeated. And Vanderbilt and Missouri are also undefeated, and they're wanting to climb upstairs to the top 5, right? Ole Miss is undefeated, but they're not in my top 5 yet. One more win by Ole Miss, and they'd probably be knocking on the door because Auburn plays Oklahoma. So one of those 2 teams will fall out of the top 5 next week. Isn't it amazing that we do a top 5 in the SEC? And really, we're going to put together an entire BigJReport.com SEC Power Rankings here in just sometime this week. We'll put it all together. But right now, that's what I've got in the top 5. Georgia 1, LSU 2, Auburn 3. They're 3-0. Auburn also owns a win a couple of weeks ago over a pretty good Baylor team. Where does Baylor play now? Big 12, right? They were part of the old Southwest Conference way back in the 1970s. So you got Georgia number 1, LSU 2 in the SEC Power Rankings, Auburn 3, Oklahoma 4, Texas A&M 5th. Tennessee loses in overtime, but they're not in the top 5. You could make an argument they should be in there because they only lost to Georgia by 3 points, basically in overtime. Bama's 2-1. Bama may be starting to turn things around after their Florida State debacle 2 or 3 weeks ago. Florida State's got a good team, but heck, they're not in the SEC. Not yet. I think they're going to stay in the ACC for a while. That contract kind of held them back. Georgia Tech, they've got a lot of players back from last year's team. And last year's team was actually pretty good. They had a winning season at Tech, as I understand it. And they may be better this year. Georgia Tech has actually scratched the surface into one of the polls. I think the AP, they're like 18th. Georgia Tech is 3-0. They just beat Clemson over the weekend by 3 points. So that's some of what's going on in college football. And Clemson lost. How about that? So I don't know. Dabo's not a big fan of the NIL. Saban was not a big fan of the NIL. I'm not the biggest fan of the NIL either. And our executive producer, JC, we could talk NIL on here just about all day long. But those are the power rankings on the screen. I got Georgia first, LSU second, Auburn third, Oklahoma fourth, Texas A&M fifth. All 5 of those teams are undefeated and 3-0. And man, we're gonna try to make sense out of it all. So we're gonna throw some coins in the glass. I don't know if you can hear that, JC. Remember the old commercial we made back in the day down in God's country, up in God's country, in that corner of southeast Alabama. Lakeside lost. Eufaula won. Ed White still undefeated, but playing some podunk junctions the last couple of weeks. Is an old high school football coach used to call them podunk junctions when the teams weren't very good, but they might say, hey, that was no podunk junction. I don't know. Ed White beat West Side and then just demolished Inglewood. Inglewood and Westside, those were podunk junctions. We're pretty close to it. Ed White is undefeated, though, 4-0. They're actually 3-0. The Andrew Jackson game was considered preseason. Ed White is 4-0 overall, but 3-0, I believe, in the regular season. High school football scores are all up at BigJReport.com. Scroll our homepage. You'll find the latest high school football scores for Jacksonville, Duval, North Florida, South Georgia, Western Georgia, and parts of that corner of southeast Bama. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are actually that's the top five we came up with. We're going to move now to Jaguars, and we're going to change the screen. Cincinnati Bengals 31, Jacksonville Jaguars 27, a final on Sunday, September the 14th. The Jaguars are now 1-1. Concerts in the area. Probably the biggest one coming is Peter Frampton, October the 29th in St. Augustine. Get all the concert information at BigJReport.com, or most of it. The ones we recommend that we'd like to go see or we think will be a good show, we've got them up at BigJReport.com in the Neighbors 2 section. Again, we're brought to you by Lake Eufaula Hits, the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. Check out JC's show on Thursday nights, live from the pub with JC on Thursday nights at LakeEufaulaHits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. And remember to check out Mad Max Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock Eastern Time on the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. And JC and Mad Max, you guys are on the scroll. The Teal Shirt Report podcast is brought to you by Social Realty and Capital, also by the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. And Max's Wednesday night request show. Max will give you his phone number during the show and give him a call, or better yet, text him. Also sponsored by LakeEufaulaHits.com and JC's Thursday night live from the pub show. This and most every Thursday night, this Thursday night and each Thursday night. Now we've got the Cincinnati Bengals on the screen. Somehow, some way they won the game. Jaguars should have easily scored 35 points in this game, but they only came up with 27. There was one time the Jaguars are moving the ball down the field, and you know, you may have seen the video, but Liam Cohen got really demonstrative on the sidelines and said, "Man, hit him in the chest." He's motioning to the chest. Hit him in the chest. You got to get the ball to him. Trevor kind of gaffed him off a little bit. Ooh, the honeymoon may be over between Cohen and Trevor. But you know what I like? I like the fact that Liam Cohen wants to win the game, and he's telling his quarterback, hey, this is what you got to do, and we got to win some games. Jaguars lose to Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bengals 31. Jacksonville Jaguars 27, a final on Sunday, September the 14th. Bashul looked very good on his little touchdown reception. This guy has got good size. He's fast, and he's got some moves. And he may have been a steal where the Jaguars picked him up in the draft in the mid-rounds. How about that? And then they picked up another running back who seems like he can block pretty good. So the Tank Bigsby trade might have been a good trade for both teams. I think, according to a guy that I went to school with, Big Bill, who resides, he used to be the honorary mayor of White House, Florida. He lives on the west side of Jacksonville. Big Bill, he said, and he's an Eagles fan. He told me, he said they're going to use Tank Bigsby on kickoff returns. Plus, he'll be the backup running back to Saquon Barkley. The Jaguars get a 5th and 6th round pick in that deal for Tank Bigsby. It's probably a good deal, although I like most of us, we hated to see Tank go. And that's the honest to goodness truth. Good football player. A lot of the fantasy prognosticators had Tank Bigsby to score more fantasy points slightly over Etienne. Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne has had a couple of pretty good weeks. The first week was better. Carolina's not as good as Cincinnati. Cincinnati's got more players, more star players on both sides of the ball. The pass rusher, I'll get into this now. Walker Little is not a Pro Bowler. When he goes up against that, like the pass rusher from Cincinnati, a lot of times he couldn't keep him out, and that hurt. When you don't have Pro Bowlers on your offensive line, and the Jaguars do not, They don't. They don't have Pro Bowlers. Anton Harrison, maybe at right tackle, has a shot to be a Pro Bowler in the future. He's only into what is, I think, third year now. But Walker Little's not a Pro Bowler. Hopefully, he continues to develop and improve, and maybe he will become a Pro Bowler, but not now. He's not a Pro Bowler now. The guy New England picked fourth overall in the draft. He might was the guy's name Will Campbell. He could end up being a Pro Bowler in a couple of years. We don't know. Time will tell. So the Cincinnati Bengals 31, the Jacksonville Jaguars 27, a final on Sunday, September the 14th. The Jacksonville Jaguars are now 1-1. Clear skies in Jacksonville. A high temperature is going to approach 87, warm in the afternoon, but kind of getting cooler at night. Lows this morning, 62. Look for a low tonight near 62. Clear skies and dry, at least for the next 2 or 3 days. And it's right now it's Monday morning, September the 15th of 2025. So we can take a look at these stats. Sometimes I get better printed stats than at other times. So let's take a look. The passing game, Browning came in. The backup quarterback came in the game and went 21 of 32, 2 TDs, but 3 interceptions. The pass that Devin Lloyd intercepted, man, that was athletic. Hats off to Devin Lloyd. And he had an interception late in the year last year. He had a fumble recovery. No, I'm sorry. Let me back up on that. He had a sack and an interception in the last 2 games last year. So maybe Devin Lloyd is coming on a little bit. I love our linebacker play. Ventrell Miller, man, he's a hoss and he gives great effort. Boy, St. Alakun has led the NFL in tackles. I think I saw a stat that he's led the NFL in tackles. If you take a look at the last 5 years of the NFL, there's nobody that's got more tackles than St. Alakun. Why has he not been in the Pro Bowl? Think about that. Why did it take Tony Baselli so long to get into the Hall of Fame? Why is Fred Taylor not in the Hall of Fame? It's obviously a small market bias. Jacksonville, Florida, a big little town, right? Browning, the quarterback with the Bengals, 21 of 32, 2 touchdown passes, but 3 interceptions. The Jags left points on the field. They should have scored 35 points in this game, Mr. Gaylor. You know that. There's other people saying it could have been more than that. Trevor Lawrence, 24 of 42. If my math is correct, what is that? Is that 50%? No, 21 out of 40. 21 out of 42 be 50%. Trevor was over 50%. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Travis Etienne, 14 carries, 71 yards. You know, the game he got over 140 yards rushing against Carolina. He had more carries. He was north of 20 carries, I believe, in that game. In this game, Travis Etienne Jr., running back with the Jaguars, 14 carries, 71 yards. Brown, the running back with the Bengals, 16 carries, only 47 yards. Give the Jags defense some credit there. But Jamar Chase, you got a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Jamar Chase had 14 receptions. Man, 14 receptions, 1 touchdown, and that was 165 yards. Who was the Jags' leading receiver? It wasn't Brian Thomas Jr. There was a play when, and everybody was saying, well, Trevor threw 2 interceptions. Well, one of those to Brian Thomas Jr., he stopped his route early. I think he was worried about being hit over the middle. And that's part of the game. You don't want to get hurt. Don't want anybody to get hurt, but it looked like he might have stopped his route. The ball did hit him off the end of his fingers, but if he keeps going on that route, he probably makes a catch. Play deflected off of Brian Thomas Jr.'s fingers into the arms of a Cincinnati defensive back, and it was an interception. Trevor had 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Browning, the backup quarterback, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. The Jaguars should have won this game. So who was the leading wide receiver for the Jaguars? No, it was not Brian Thomas Jr. It was not number 12, Travis Hunter. Even though Dyami Brown had a pretty good game, Parker Washington had 5 receptions for 76 yards in this game. Maybe they need to put number 12 just on defense. I don't know. He's got to develop. We'll find out a month from now. He should be doing a lot more offensively. Travis Hunter got a penalty, a pass interference penalty, and he had to come in and play a lot more on defense because Jarius Jones got hurt early in the game. I think Jarius Jones did come back, but the situation was number 12, Travis Hunter, was going to come out there and play some defensive plays. He played more defensive plays than the Jaguars thought he would this week. Lewis for the Jaguars, a cornerback, at 5 solo tackles. That's pretty good. That guy's a good ball player. AFC South Division, Indianapolis 2-0, Jacksonville 1-1, Houston Texans 0-1, Tennessee 0-2. So you lose yesterday 31-27 in Cincinnati, but all in all, you're not in bad shape. Indianapolis leads the division at 2-0. You're still going to get 2 cracks at the Colts during the 2025 season. Jacksonville essentially is in second place in the division. Cincinnati, those 2-0, and they lead the AFC North. Baltimore's 1-1, Pittsburgh's 1-1, and Cleveland, the Brownies, are 0-2. We'll take a look. Let's take a look at some NFL scores. Jaguars did get beat by the Bengals. The Monday night game is Tampa Bay and Houston. Guys, they got 2 games on Monday night. Primetime bonanza, right? All over the country. Let's take a look at some scores. Now, for you Jaguars aficionados, Mac Jones, who played a lot of football last year for Jacksonville when Trevor was hurt, he went to San Francisco, and Mac Jones played for the injured Brock Purdy, and Mac Jones in San Francisco won the game. I believe that game was in New Orleans, too. San Francisco 26, the New Orleans Saints 21. New England did hang. It looked like their quarterback played pretty good for them with New England. They won the game 33-27 over Miami. Miami doesn't seem to be really good, though, this year. Miami is not a good football team. I would say the Jaguars are better than Miami. San Francisco 26, New Orleans 21. Mac Jones, the backup, wins the game for the 49ers, just like, Browning, the backup for the Bengals, won the game for Cincinnati. Overtime game, Dallas 40, the New York Giants 37. What's going on with the Chicago Bears? They get the new head coach from Detroit, and all of a sudden the Bears are 0-2. They got blown out by the coach's old team, Detroit. Detroit 52, the Chicago Bears 21. Seattle beat Pittsburgh. Seattle 31, Pittsburgh Steelers 17. And Denver's supposed to be a really good defense this year, but Indianapolis scored 29 points on them. Indianapolis 29, Denver 28. Again, Seattle Seahawks 31, Pittsburgh 17. I know JC's Buffalo Bills beat the Jets. Buffalo Bills 30, New York Jets 10. Philadelphia Eagles 20, Kansas City Chiefs 17. That's a replay of the Super Bowl, right? Philadelphia won that game. Tank Bigsby's now on an undefeated team. His shot at winning a title. Tank Bigsby going to return some kicks for Philadelphia. Be kind of the backup running back to Saquon Barkley. Not a bad gig. Good landing spot. Our executive producer, JC, said this is a good landing spot for the former Auburn running back, Tank Bigsby. Arizona beat Carolina. Carolina's not really a good football team, but the Jaguars did beat them the first week impressively, 26-10. Arizona 27, Carolina 22, so Carolina's 0-2. Philadelphia again, the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles 20, Kansas City 17. Atlanta won. Atlanta came close to beating Tampa Bay last week. Atlanta beat Minnesota, the Atlanta Falcons. That's right, the Atlanta Falcons 22, the Minnesota Vikings 6, the final score. Did I miss some scores here? Let's take a look here. Buffalo 30, New York Jets 10, Baltimore 41, Cleveland Brownies 17. LA Rams, where Les Snead is a GM, and James Gladstone, the GM with the Jaguars, came from that tree, came from a branch of that tree. LA Rams 33, Tennessee Titans 19. We always love when Tennessee loses. And again, they did lose. They They did lose yesterday. Are there more games we want to take a look at? There was a Thursday night game where Green Bay beat Washington. Green Bay Packers 27. The Washington Commanders / Redskins, Washington football team lost. Green Bay 27, Washington 18. That game was last week on Thursday. That kind of started the NFL weekend. New England 33, Miami Dolphins 27. We're giving some of these scores again. Buffalo 30, New York Jets 10. Another pretty good game for Josh Allen. Not as good maybe as his first game, but he's still the quarterback of record. Baltimore 41, Cleveland 17. Again, Buffalo 30, New York Jets 10. New England beat Miami 33-27. Again, Mac Jones and the San Francisco 49ers 26, New Orleans Saints 21. Dallas beat the Giants. Dallas Cowboys 40, New York Giants 37. Detroit killed Chicago in Detroit. It was the Detroit Lions 52. Chicago Bears 21. Their coach, the coach that was being considered as the top choice for the Jaguars, he did not come here. He decided to go to Chicago, and they're 0-2 to start. I've seen a couple of good things out of Liam Cohen. I think the Jags might have actually got this one right. Liam wants to win the game, and he's even telling his franchise quarterback, hit him in the chest with a football. And I think the honeymoon may be close to being over between Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence. It's down to business now. Detroit Lions 52, Chicago Bears 21, Seattle 31, Pittsburgh Steelers 17. Seattle wins the game. Seattle Seahawks 31, Pittsburgh Steelers 17. Indianapolis Colts 29, Denver Broncos 28. The Arizona Cardinals 27, Carolina Panthers 22, and the Philadelphia Eagles 20, Kansas City 17. Tank Bigsby now on a team that could win the Super Bowl again, right? Atlanta Falcons 22, Minnesota 6. That's a big win for Atlanta. I believe that was at Minnesota. The Atlanta Falcons 22, Minnesota 6, the final score. And we gave you most of the stats. I will say this about Trayvon Walker. The first week against Carolina, his very first play out there playing defense, he got pancaked. However, the game yesterday against the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to tell you that the first two plays of the game, Trayvon played very, very, very well. Trayvon Walker made a really good tackle on the first play. On the second play, he deflected or batted the ball slightly. I saw about really 4 good plays out of Trayvon. He got a little quieter later in the game, but I saw some good improvement by Trayvon Walker from game 1 to game 2. And the Jags got a habit, starting to see a little bit of havoc out of Trayvon Walker. Again, Green Bay last Thursday, Green Bay Packers 27, Washington Commanders 18, the final score. So the Jaguars lose, but they really should have won. They lost the game 31-27 against Cincinnati. The Jaguars had the lead in this football game. I mean, they did. They were leading 7-0 during this football game, and at other points of the game, they had the lead too. Maybe I should check a little bit. Let's check a little bit of defense here on some stats. Bashul scored a touchdown and looked pretty good. Let's see here. Jaguars lose to Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bengals 31, Jacksonville Jaguars 27. A final on Sunday, September the 14th of 2025. The Jacksonville Jaguars are now 1-1 on the season. Now, as we bounce back to some stats, again, Trevor Lawrence was 24 out of 42. Yeah, that was better than 50%, right? Put the ball up in the air a lot. And, when you're trying to move the ball down the field, matriculate the ball down the field, he did get more passing yardage in this game than the first game. The Jags just didn't win the second game like they won the first game, if you can understand that. Trevor Lawrence, 24-42, 271 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was sacked right there at the end of the game. Not the best day for Trevor. He did have 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions, One of the interceptions was not on Trevor. I think it was on Brian Thomas Jr., deflected off his fingertips, and I don't think he completed the route, as I mentioned earlier. Travis Etienne, 14 carries, 71 yards. Bayshul Tootin, 8 carries, 42 yards. Tootin actually got, let me see here. Tootin actually got his touchdown on a little screen pass, and he made a great move on that play. Showed some speed, went right into the end zone. He had a touchdown, 2 receptions, 32 yards. Do you like that? 2 receptions, 32 yards for a running back. Travis Hunter, 3 catches, 22 yards. John Gaylor tells me Travis Hunter's coming. It may take about a month of this process of him kind of getting into the groove, so to speak. Brenton Strange, 3 catches, 17 yards. That's your top tight end. ETN at 2 catches for 18 yards. Trevor Lawrence has just got to distribute the ball. Brian Thomas Jr. did have 4 catches for 49 yards. Dyami Brown, 5 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown reception for Dyami Brown. So here's the interesting thing. The 3 touchdowns the Jaguars scored from Trevor Lawrence on passes, 2 went to running backs. Travis Etienne scored a touchdown. Bayshul Tootin scored a touchdown. The reason why Tank Bigsby was traded because the Jags really like Bayshul Tootin, now the running back number 33. Dyami Brown caught a touchdown pass as well. Parker Washington, though, had the most receiving yardage, 5 catches for 76 yards. Those are some of the stats. Did we want to get into defense? We can. Jordan Lewis looks like a ball player. Number 2, defensive back, cornerback for the Jags, 8 total tackles, 5 solo tackles. Eric Murray in this game had a good game. Eric Murray, he also made an interception as well in this football game. Eric Murray, 7 total tackles, 6 solos. Forsade Alakun, 7 total tackles, 3 solo tackles. Josh Hines-Allen picked it up in this one, 6 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, 3 quarterback hits. There were some sacks by the Jaguars. Forsade Alakun had a sack on the Bengals quarterback. Trayvon Walker also had a sack in this game and a tackle for a loss. Trayvon Walker, a better game this week, 5 total tackles, 3 solo tackles, a sack, 1 sack, and a tackle for a loss. Eric Armstead had a sack in this game too. So I believe the Jags ended up with 3 sacks. The Bengals got just 1, I believe. I'm looking over at the other side of the Bengals, 1 sack in this game. The Jaguars did have quietly 3 sacks. Alakun got a sack, Trayvon Walker and Eric Armstead got a sack in this football game as well. So that's some of what's going on with the stats. Hope you found that entertaining and, yes, educational. You're listening to the TEAL Shirt Report podcast. Beautiful weather in Jacksonville. Clear skies, 62 degrees this morning early. High will get up to 87, warming up in the afternoon. And frustrating football. Jaguars lose to the Bengals 31-27. Florida Gators lost to LSU 20-10. Georgia Tech beat Clemson by 3 points, though. And college football was interesting. My Ed White Commanders won on Friday night. They have not lost yet. And if you want to take a look at some wild scores, go to our website at BigJReport.com. Scroll the homepage, find North Florida news and high school football scores up on our website at BigJReport.com. On the homepage, you find just about any high school football score you want from Duval County, Jacksonville, North Florida, South Georgia, Western Georgia, and that corner of Southeast Alabama as well. Got a lot of high school football scores up. We may not have them all, but we got most of them up. We've been brought to you by Saucerility Capital, the MadMaxMix.weebly.com, and Lake Eufaula Hits, and JC's live from the pub show on Thursday nights. Mad Max and the Mad Max Mix on Wednesday nights, 6 till 8 Central Time, 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock Eastern Time for Mad Max's show on Wednesday night. Special thanks to our executive producer, JC. Also, Alex Nunnery. You can find Alex. He's got some high school football videos on this channel. Subscribe to our channel. You'll never miss any of it. John Gaylor, our contributor and correspondent. Thank you very much for all the help. We appreciate you very, very much, Mr. John Gaylor. Also, our executive producer, JC, and Alex Nunnery. And check out Mad Max's show on Wednesday night. This has been the Teal Shirt Report podcast, episode show number 55 on the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I'm your host, Scott, and I think we covered most all the NFL. We even gave you our top 5 SEC power rankings, although it's a little bit of a bizarre group of top 5. In Vanderbilt and Missouri, undefeated, trying to get upstairs with those teams we mentioned. You guys have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I'm your host, Scott. And hey, I'm out. Have a great day.